Andy XL back with another NFXL podcast, and this is my Week 16 update of my team power rankings, the MVP race, and the race for Offensive Rookie of the Year. So let's get into the power rankings. And staying at number one, I'm still sticking by them, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, losing to the Seahawks not only cost them the lead in the NFC West, but with the 49ers winning, drops them to third in that division. But it should not be overlooked how superb their offense was in this game. And apart from 2 minutes of madness in the fourth quarter, they would have won comfortably. So I still see them as the team to beat and therefore the best team in the NFL. At number two, moving up from number three, are the Seattle Seahawks, the team that beat the Rams. That miraculous win that takes them to the top of the NFC West and the NFC overall. But this was a 1 in 100 win for them. If you think about it, that's only going to happen very, very rarely from where they were. And like I say, I still remain of the view that the Rams are the better of the two teams on the vast majority of days. But what the Seahawks have shown in both meetings with the Rams, where they've won and lost to them, and like I say, pulled off a miraculous win here, they can compete with the best team in the NFL. So they're a definite contender. Moving up to number three from number four, the San Francisco 49ers. They make it the best three teams in the entire league coming from the same division. What a division to be in that is. Oh, after a mightily impressive win over the Colts, the 49ers move up to number three. They can now take the top seeding in the NFC by winning their last two games as they host Seattle in Week 18 and maybe playing their best football of the season right now. Moving up from 6 to 4, the Houston Texans. The Texans may have laboured to a win over the Raiders, but this seventh win in a row, combined with the Colts' loss, almost cements their place in the postseason. And for me, they are the team to beat in the AFC postseason bracket right now, despite their continued red zone offensive struggles that continued in this game. Another game where they kicked more field goals and scored touchdowns. They would like that to change in the postseason, but the defense is just awesome. Right, moving up from 7 to 5, the New England Patriots. A win at Baltimore moves them a week closer to the AFC title and also pulls them level on wins with the Broncos at the top of the AFC. Games against the Jets and the Dolphins give them a nice finish to their regular season schedule, so they could yet end up as the one seed from the AFC. So I've moved them up 2 spots, which means the Bills drop from 5 to 6. Now, on their day, the Bills may be the best team in the AFC behind the Texans. Like Houston, their win over Cleveland was more workmanlike than good, but they remain a team whose offense can catch fire at any time against any opponent. So, a definite AFC contender. And dropping all the way down from 2 to 7 are the Denver Broncos. The Broncos dropped 5 spots after losing to the Jags, and displaying their hold on the top spot in the AFC does not mean they're the best team in the conference. And if they come up against an offense that is on top form, as they did in this game, their offense cannot necessarily keep pace with that team. So I still see the Broncos as a vulnerable one seed if that's how they end up. Right. The Jacksonville Jaguars move up from 10 to 8. Along with the 49ers, the Jags were the most impressive winners in Week 16 as they were superb against the Broncos. And Trevor Lawrence was every bit the quarterback the Jags always hoped he would be when they drafted him all that time ago. If they play like this come the postseason, they too are a serious threat to anybody in the AFC. Right, the Chicago Bears dropped from 8 to 9. Their overtime win over the Packers gives them clear water at the top of the NFC North, and that could even set up a rematch with these Packers in wildcard week. The Philadelphia Eagles move into my top 10, up 1 spot from 11. The Eagles did not have to be anywhere near their best to win the NFC East this season, but their Week 16 win meant they retained that title. But to defend the others they won last season, they would need to get back to their best selves. The LA Chargers move up from 12 to 11. The Chargers are another team that booked their postseason berth in Week 16, and in a wide open AFC, in all truth, are another team that are capable of putting a deep postseason run together. The Green Bay Packers dropped from 9 to 12. The Packers may have left themselves too much to do to catch the Bears in the NFC North now, so securing the final wildcard may be their best hope they can hope for now, which will mean that make life really tough for them in terms of winning multiple postseason games on the road in the tough NFC postseason bracket. The Pittsburgh Steelers stay at 13. The Steelers' win over the Lions in Detroit was huge, but became massive when the Ravens lost to the Pats. A win over Cleveland in Week 17 will confirm them as AFC champions now and put them in the postseason. Up one from 15 to 14, perversely, are the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who lost to the Panthers. That loss means the battle between these two for the NFC title is now pretty much a 50-50 contest. And the Panthers are up from 18 to 15, one spots behind the Bucks. The Panthers win means even if they lose to the Seahawks in week 17, they can still secure the division title with a win over the Bucks in week 18. If the Bucks had won this week, it was pretty much all over. But now it's thrown it wide open between those two. The Detroit Lions stay at 16. The Lions' postseason hopes hang by a thread after their injury-depleted O-line and secondary capitulated to the Steelers. It looks like tough sledding for them to get in the postseason now. The Baltimore Ravens dropped from 14 to 17. Pretty much the same story for them, as they need to win in week 17 at Green Bay and hope for help from the Browns to keep their divisional title and postseason hopes alive. That's a big ask in this week alone. If that happens, then they get a win in your in-game with Pittsburgh in week 18. The Indianapolis Colts dropped from 17 to 18. The third team whose postseason hopes are evaporating rapidly after their loss to the 49ers. They're now 2 games back of a team on a 7-game win streak with 2 weeks to go for the final wildcard place, and that's a not good place to be. So their chances look pretty slim. Right, they're the 18 teams still in contention. Now, I've reordered the remainder on how I see them likely to perform next season, as opposed to this in these power rankings. So I've got the Kansas City Chiefs at 19. The Chiefs were down to their quarterback 3 and have a long list of injuries elsewhere. But once they get everybody back, for me, are the team most likely to bounce back in 2026, even though they're in a tough division. The Dallas Cowboys, I've got at 20. And if Dallas can rediscover their brief but spectacular run of mid-season form, they could be another on the rise next season. I actually think that NFC East, the Eagles may have a really tough time next year, because I think all 3 other teams in that division are going to potentially improve a lot. Right, up 2 spots from 23 to 21, because I've reordered it, are the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals could be another team to be far, far better in 2026. That's if they ever sort that defense out, of course. I've got the Minnesota Vikings at 22. If the Vikings can get good, consistent quarterback play next season, they may be able to contend in what looks like a tough division indeed next season. You know, you're going to have Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay again. It's a tough old division, that. Atlanta Falcons, they're at 23. And in the NFC South, it may not take much improvement from the Falcons for them to compete for a divisional title next season. So whilst I don't expect them to be superb next season, it won't take a lot of improvement for them to be in the picture. The Miami Dolphins are at 24. I doubt the same optimistic thoughts are held by Dolphins fans, as they look a long way off the Patriots and Bills right now and have a cloudy quarterback situation to short for sure. We've got the Washington Commanders at 25. The Commanders' aging roster looks to be in need of a revamp or rebuild over the next season or two, and they will certainly need to manage that transition well in the division where both the Cowboys and Giants could improve significantly in 2026. So I can actually see the Commanders almost treading water next season, and that could mean the Cowboys move clear of them and the Giants catch them up. That's just a long-range prediction. The Arizona Cardinals have got at 26. The Cardinals have lost plenty of close games this season, but they find themselves adrift of the 3 best teams in the NFL, who are all in their division right now. So they will need to improve an awful lot to compete in that division in 2026. The New Orleans Saints are at 27. Tyler Shugg looks to be their quarterback of 2026. And if they can improve in other areas, they're in a division where, as I've said before, last to first could be possible. I've got the New York Giants at 28. The Giants will get Malik Neighbors and Cam Scatterbo back for next season, and will have early, possibly very early draft picks to help bolster their roster. So they may have plenty of ground to make up in the NFC East next season, but could be a team that could improve plenty in next term. The Tennessee Titans have got at 29. Simple for them. Improve the O-line and the Titans can be far more competitive in 2026. The New York Jets at 30. Same for the Jets as the Browns, although a good quarterback and another receiver or two could see them climb off the bottom of the AFC East next season. And that brings me to those Browns, who are at 31. The Browns' offense remains a mess, and with that unlikely to be sorted under the Deshaun Watson cloud for 2026, it could be another season of struggle for Cleveland next season. And I've got the Las Vegas Raiders at 32. Now, Ashton Jonte and Brock Bowers are two of the finest young players in the NFL. Just get the O-line sorted to help them, and whoever the quarterback is, and the Raiders will win more games for sure next season. But I still remain doubtful they'll get that O-line sorted. So they're my updated power rankings. Let's have a look at MVP. My leading candidate is still Matthew Stafford. Yes, the Rams lost this week, but he was brilliant. He's now having 278 passing yards a game. He's got 40 passing touchdowns. That's 2.67 per game, and has thrown just 5 picks. Continues to play at a very high level. So he's my leading MVP candidate right now. Moving up from 4 to 2 is Drake May after the Patriots win in Baltimore. His figures are just slightly below Stafford in terms of yardage, but quite a lot below him in terms of touchdowns. Thrown more picks, rushes more, obviously. But overall, I still think Stafford's had the much better season. May's very early in his career, and his time may well come. Myles Garrett drops from 2 to 3 at just the half a sack in week 16, and that was a bit dubious if you think about it. Don't want to take anything away from him though. He's now got 22 for the season. The NFL record is 22 and a half, so it seems he will do it in one of the next 2 weeks. If he can get 2, he will be clear of the unofficial record of Al Baker as well, who got 23 in 1978. So he's my number 3 in the MVP race. Josh Allen drops from 3 to 4. A pretty modest game for him this week, so I've just dropped him down 1 spot. Christian McCaffrey stays at 5. He's now got 1,888 scrimmage yards and 16 touchdowns for the season, which is not going to get anywhere near Saquon Barkley's yardage numbers last year, but he's already hit the number of touchdowns Barkley got. So if Barkley didn't win it last year, I think McCaffrey's unlikely to win it this year, but he deserves a mention for sure. I've moved Jackson Smith-Njigba up from 7 to 6. He's got 1,673 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns. Calvin Johnson holds the single season record from a 16-game season with 1,964 in 2012. So Smith-Njigba probably needs to get over 300 more yards in the last 2 games to break. Well, he does need 300 more yards to break Johnson's record, but I think because he's got an extra game, he needs to clear 2,000 to be seen, to take an asterisk off that record, if you like. If he did that, then he starts moving up into MVP contention, but a lot of work to do. And I've dropped Jonathan Taylor from 6 to 7. He's behind McCaffrey in scrimmage yards now by 48, but he's had 3 more touchdowns. So he's had an excellent season, but the Colts are fading away, and with that, so his MVP hopes are probably going. Right, offensive rookie of the year. I'll do this from 10 to 1. Harold Fanning's at 10, 714 yards and 6 touchdowns now. Tyler Warren is at 9, but that contest for leading rookie tight end is close because Warren's had 42 more yards but 1 less touchdown. So it's a close matchup now. I've got Woody Marks at 8, who's got 788 yards and 6 touchdowns. Carl Monaghan at 7 with 871 yards and 5 touchdowns. Quinshon Judkins has suffered that really nasty injury and is out for the season now, and has cruelly fallen 2 yards short of a 1,000-yard rookie season, 998 yards and 7 touchdowns. But obviously he's not going to add to that, so he's potentially going to struggle to win this award now. Emeka Egbuka is also fading, down from 4 to 5. He's getting less and less share now that Evans and Godwin are back. 919 yards and 6 touchdowns is what he's recorded for the season. Tyler Shugg moves up from 6 to 4. 4 wins from 7 starts for Shugg now. Impressive. If he can add 2 or 3 more to that, he could be a real contender. Ted McMillan, 924 yards and 7 touchdowns, sits at 3. Trevion Henderson, that's up 2 spots by the way, as was Shugg. Henderson drops 1. Trevion Henderson drops from 1 to 2. 997 yards and 8 touchdowns for him. But Ashton Jonte, I'm going to keep lobbying for this guy. He is the offensive rookie of the year. Behind that terrible O-line of the Raiders, he still managed to record 1,154 scrimmage yards and 10 touchdowns. By far the most yardage of any rookie and the most TDs to go with it. So he is my offensive rookie of the year, and I can't see anybody really catching him now. So that's how I see all that. I'll be back shortly with Good Week, Bad Week. See you soon.